Hi guys, welcome to the analysis for today. It's August 28th, and today we're going to talk about some euro strength that happened in the market today and what we can kind of expect moving forward, and also look at some CAD pairs that Casey and I have been following, looking for potential plays. So we'll go over that, and then also just our other major pairs, looking for potential setups. Before we do that, we're going to hit our news and also our terms of service for the daily analysis, and then we can jump into these pairs. Okay, so first up, let's check out our news for tomorrow. Okay, so not a ton of news tomorrow, but we do have some red tagged events for the US dollar in the New York session, so we're definitely going to want to pay attention to that. We have the prelim GDP here and pending home sales here. So those two events are certainly going to have an effect if there's a large deviation, and that's something that we'll definitely want to pay attention to, especially if you're taking any of the plays that we mentioned today, like euro dollar or USD CAD. Obviously, a dollar pair is going to be affected by any USD news. Okay, so keep those in mind. And then, of course, if you're trading the later session, all this red tag stuff here with AUD and New Zealand can certainly shake up the market. So we'll definitely want to pay attention to this news if you have open trades during the later sessions tomorrow. Okay. Alrighty, guys. Next, we're going to cover our terms of service. And like I always say, this is in place to make sure that we're legally in line with what the United States government expects from us. And the main thing is here where it says that we're not licensed or qualified to provide any investment advice. That's what we need you guys to understand. This is just an educational thing where we're sharing, or I'm sharing, my personal views of the market, what I'm looking at, and that's all it is. Okay. If you need to pause the video to read that, you can do so. And I'm going to jump into the analysis here. So first up, I have the euro dollar, and obviously one thing we've noted is that since the euro dollar has begun this base move upward, it has not only remained relatively consistent with slight pullbacks headed up as we see here, but it's also broken through our long-term previous downtrend line that had been respected to some extent, until that point. So we had a very strong break here, and then typically what we're looking for after a strong break is to see whether it's going to be a fake out and drop back down, which is often the case because many times a breakout will just be an illusion to get people to jump on long so that it can reverse and take their money back to the short side. So there's that opportunity, depending on what happens. And there's also a real breakout, of course, which is where it'll break out, maybe slow down like it is here, and then continue up. And so those are the two, typical patterns that we're looking for when we first see a break of a major level. And so right now it looks like the euro dollar is certainly following the continuation pattern, as it's 3 bars up, 2 bars back, and a strong continuation signal that we have today. So this puts me on the bias for long positions opportunities for the euro dollar, because not only are we seeing some good continuation signal, but it's also close to a support level that we've seen bounce in the past. So as you can see, this second bar came near here, and this is pulled back somewhere in this zone. And we know that most support areas are just that, they're areas. They're zones more than just a line. So really anywhere in this area is a zone of support, but you can see that we have pulled back slightly towards that area, and we have a nice continuation bar forming now, which could be a good opportunity to go ahead and take a long. Alright, let's take a look at the pound dollar. Now the pound dollar is very similar. We had a break, a pullback right back into support, and then a continuation bar. So it's very realistic that we could see a continuation of the pound dollar movement throughout this week. As far as what I'm seeing just off of this Tuesday, and we know that since it's Tuesday, it's still pretty early in the week, but it does appear that this could be a pretty bullish week. I know that Casey's already long on this in the copier account, and he's up to some extent. So if we do see follow through up into here, at least to this level, and perhaps targeting something way up here, if we're thinking long term, that could be a really profitable trade. So that's something that we'll take a look on. Obviously, it's going to be very difficult to hold a trade all the way up in this zone because to get there, it's probably going to have to chop around and do a lot of stuff before we get there. However, that is a possibility, and hitting one of those massive winners is what will make you profitable over the long term. And so at the copier account, many times we do have some losing trades, and then we hit one larger gain to make up for those losses, which will get us back into a net profit. So this is an opportunity to take one of those trades, and right now we are currently up to some extent and looking for a lot more. Alright, next I'm going to show you the odd dollar. And the odd dollar is one that has actually broken out the other way. Let me pull this fib level out here. We can see that the odd has broken to the downside pretty heavily from here. So came down, struggled a little bit, and then broke. So a good signal there for shorts. However, it does look like this tail bar is trying to push it maybe back up for a retest of this level. Now that would be a great signal if it was a better candle. However, this candle is just too small and insignificant for me to look to take a long back up to that level. A better signal would be a much longer candle, something that resembled this type of pattern, that price was pushed down much further and then rebounded. But because this candle just represents so few pips, it doesn't appear to be a quality signal that price is heading back up, though that could very well be a possibility. Alright, so with odd, I'm looking at this as nothing more than a stall bar at this point until I see something more definite with that. Alright, next we're going to look at the US dollar yen. The US yen does appear to still be struggling in this channel that we have looked at for quite some time, so I don't see any trade opportunities here. However, if you're a much shorter term trader, you might look for a short off the top of this level just right back into the bottom because depending on how tight your stop loss is and how many pips you're looking to get, I think that is a valid trade opportunity. It's just not something that I typically take because I'm looking for much longer term entries. But this is a significant bounce off the top level considering how US yen is traded back and forth in that pattern. So take a look at that. Okay, next we're going to look at the euro pound, guys, and the euro pound, because of that euro strength, is moving up quite a bit. Let me give you a little larger view here. We are running into some major resistance, which is at the base of this level. Let me get rid of my top line here. This is a pretty big level as I zoom up because this was the base that built when euro pound first made some higher highs for a long time, because until this point right here, euro pound was headed straight down, and this was kind of the first time that it really built a base and started trying to move in an upward direction, which kind of makes it a more key level than a different area because it stopped momentum in its tracks before. And so because of that and because of this recent test, we now have a significant level here, and we're at it right now. So definitely watch this level, guys. If you don't take anything out from this analysis, take this, that the euro pound is at a key level, and whether it breaks and continues or turns around can make all the difference in the world. So definitely keep that in mind. Hey guys, another thing I wanted to point out here was that the New Zealand dollar is awful close to breaking out of the bottom of this channel that we pointed out in the past. Obviously, it depends on how you draw this channel, but we were in this area for a very long time, broke out with a ton of momentum, and then we worked our way back into it. So if we do get a second breakout, we see the potential of what can happen there, and we want to make sure that we jump on that and take advantage if we can. Okay, so keep an eye on that. If we get a break, retest, and collapse, definitely can be a great opportunity on the New Zealand dollar. That's a level that you're definitely going to want to pay attention to. Okay. So another interesting setup that we have here is the EURCAD, and this is the EURCAD. I don't have my symbol up there, but just so you all are clear, this is the Euro Canadian dollar. And what I'm looking at here is that we had a similar break as we did on the euro dollar with the EURCAD, as you can see here, and we headed down. Now after this initial break, you can see the downtrend kind of slowed down and formed somewhat of a trend line here as we're moving back and forth. And if I draw these right to the top of the tails there, I mean that's a little technically more accurate. we can see that it started building a base and actually reversing at the bottom here and broke through this level. And you guys know that I always talk about these situations where it breaks, retests, and then continues. And it looks like we have one of those opportunities here on the EURCAD. Now earlier it looked like it might be actually a break downward, so I know that Casey was short on the EURCAD before, which he had somewhat hedged with a long on the USDCAD. However, it does appear that we were caught in the reversal, and this is actually headed back up. So that's a trade opportunity that might be worth taking advantage of. Okay. One last pair I'm going to show is the pound New Zealand, because I always like to check that out. And if you noticed yesterday, I talked about this could be an opportunity for it to bounce off the bottom of this level, move up. Today we certainly got that bar, and you can see that pound New Zealand has really skyrocketed, as New Zealand was probably the weakest pair across the board today. So now we're going to look to continue this trend and see what happens here. If this does remain up, there will be a lot of pips to be made as it travels. Now what we'd like to see is actually a break and a steeper uptrend rather than this level. We'd see something more like this, because that's obviously a lot more pips a lot quicker. But we'll see if that happens and what we can do. One thing that we'll be checking on to see is if we can break this level here, which it's basically at right now. It's a pretty bad line, but then also this level. So we'll keep an eye to see if pound New Zealand can continue to head upward, and if it does, we'll take some trade opportunities on that. All right, guys, I'm pretty sure that's about it. Those are the pairs that I wanted to cover today, and hopefully some of those gave you a good idea of what to look for. And if you have any questions or comments, please make sure to leave those, and I'll get back to you. Alrighty, guys, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon.